So if you're wondering how to get the best car insurance quote and how to get essentially the best policy, best coverage, all of that for the lowest cost, let's dive in and go over the 5+ ways or things that you need to know about going through this process. First of all, if you are doing an online quote, it's super simple. I've got a couple videos that I'll link at the end that goes over how to do online quotes versus doing them locally over the phone. There's a couple different ways. Obviously, there's different tactics that insurance companies use, and that goes a little bit more in depth at the end. If you are shopping around and you're looking to get a quote, I'll put a link in the description below. You can work with local agents that actually help you go through the process, but get the right coverages and fits what we're going to talk about today. So the first piece is you want to think about, you're going to spend time. It's going to be an investment of your time. If you're not using, like I said, the quote below, or you're using an agent that shops multiple companies, or you're going through a process where you know you're going to get 100 phone calls. There's websites you can go to that will get all of the numbers, but they're still going to all sell your information to people that dial you. And that's one thing I've tried to remove from the space. Is it's more annoying than anything, because you get multiple text messages, you get multiple phone calls, but on the renewal, if your data hasn't been scraped, it's going to happen again. And every couple of years, depending on the company's legitimacy, sometimes there's companies that sell the old data to companies. That's changing a little bit in this space, but in general, that's a process that some people go through to get the quotes. When I say that you need to think about this is because most people will contact 1 to 7 different companies. And it's really just doing your research, finding out which companies are going to give you that best deal once you've figured out the coverage. So make sure that you know the coverages you need first, and then start dialing or start going online and filling out the information to do that. Just don't, at the end of each quote, follow it to the next suggested quote. So there are companies that say, hey, we weren't competitive, or we don't think we are, or we compared it across 3 places and this company was cheaper. That's their way of saying, we know we're probably not going to win this one, but we'll sell your data to this guy if you approve it. So when you say, yes, I want to do that, it pulls you over to the other system. And now, once again, more phone calls, more whatnot, and you've got more of a headache than what you were trying to do initially. The second way to get the best and cheapest car insurance is to know that discounts are your friend. This whole industry is built off of discounts. Every company has different discount levels and different attachments. And so what we're looking at is a profile. You are building up this portfolio that you're handing to all of these companies saying, this is me, and they're all coming back with numbers. That type of person, we want to pay you to pay this much. I want you to pay this much. And so knowing that getting like a multi-car discount or a multi-policy discount or being an alumni of a college, I'll link a video that goes very in depth. I'm actually working on a whole sheet that has 100+ discounts on it, so that you can go through and dive into those. If you're interested in that, hit the subscribe button. Once it's live, it'll probably be a couple months, but once I have it ready to go, I'll give it away to you guys for free. Your car even has some discounts. So if you, one, are driving low mileage, if you're willing to do what's called a telematics, where they watch your driving history for 90 days, some are longer, depends on the company, those are major discounts that you're going to get. Part of the military, part of the government, all of those are discounts that you can apply for. And a lot of the websites will walk you through some of those, but just know that they're not always on those links, because they're like a business. They're not going to give all of their best prices up front, although they tweak it. And if you don't know what you're doing it online versus calling, then you're not going to get all of those extra pieces. Sometimes those sales agents even go so fast that they forget to ask the price point, because they're trying to focus on what's this, what's that, what's this, what. There's 50+ questions that they're going to ask you. And so filling all that out gets a little bit too much. And the point of it is they want you to go through it. And there's too many questions, then you're not going to go through it. And they know those numbers. So they're going to dumb down some of the questions just to get the information through. Number 3 is be knowledgeable about the coverages you carry. That's what I was saying in the beginning. You should know what coverages you should have first. And that's the biggest piece, because that's really what the price is based off of, is your profile that you hand to them, but the coverages you want that are going to match up with that profile. So knowing whether you need the comp and the collision, the full coverage as people call it, on your vehicle is one risk. In a certain location is another risk. With X amount of drivers in the house or non-drivers in the house is another risk. So they're really evaluating the risk that you're bringing to the table, and that's why they're coming back with the prices that they are. So to get the best rates, find that happy medium. What's your risk tolerance to what coverages you want to carry, versus the cost. A lot of your online quotes will tell you the numbers, or even if you get it from an agent, they'll email you a copy and it'll give you line items. The liability is this much, the property damage is this much, the comprehensive is this much, collision is this much. And if you see those numbers really low, that tells you that they're a low risk. Having a little bit extra cost, you might get a better coverage. So sometimes trading an extra $500 deductible lower is worth $2 for 6 months. For a lot of people, that is worth it. Playing with those numbers and understanding what level of coverage to what risk you're pulling in makes that much of a difference. If you are struggling to find a good payment, then the main things that you can do is increase your deductibles. I try not to lower your liability if possible, but that's an option that will lower it depending on the state that you're in. Not all coverages are required by every state. So some states like Texas don't require you to have the uninsured motorist coverage. A very good coverage, but not everybody has to have it. So if you have your own medical through work, you may be covered. Talk to them, make sure that's all right. But then if that's the case and you don't have anyone ever drive with you, you've got those coverages. You may not need the extra medical coverage that other states require. So those pieces are available, and just knowing that, like I said, I'll link a video at the end that goes a little bit more in detail on that we can pick and choose what coverages are best for you. And the last way is to explore the different options that you have available. That's where those local agents, if they're independent, they tend to give you more options available where you don't have to call those 7 companies. If you are going to go that route, then that's powerful, but know that every company every so often changes it up. So they're constantly trying to innovate and do something new. I know that if I go with Progressive, that they offer something called Snapshot. Now that Snapshot is different in every state, and that Snapshot is continuous. Versus if I go to Nationwide, at least today in most states, they do their own DriveWise type. I think that's actually Allstate, but they have their own system that's almost identical, but they only go 90 days. And after that 90 days, you can turn it off. You don't have to worry about it. Where the Progressive one or other companies may go backwards and charge you more if you don't pass their driver requirements. So there's different things that they constantly are trying to do. The Name Your Price tool was a big thing for Progressive. It got slammed a little bit because people were getting just these horrible policies, at least in my opinion, and they weren't covered correctly. So they get in an accident, it was a cheap policy, but they weren't covered well. There's other states that are offering different ways that you can get different coverages, and so there's different levels that you can get. Working with an agent or doing some research is going to help you a lot. I know we didn't talk a lot about bundling, but that's another option if you either add a renter's or add homeowner's insurance to a policy. A lot of times that will actually lower the price. So if you're a renter and the renters cost you $40 a month, but your car insurance goes down by $45 a month, you net a $5 gain in the monthly payments. So it benefits you not only have the coverage, but sometimes it helps you get the price that you want to be in. It's just broken up into 2 different policies. I actually have a really big video on renters. I'll try to link that below, but a lot of people go over that. The home, it starts to get into home and auto where what's happening now is the smart technologies are starting to play factors. If you have a smart home or if you have a smart car, not the actual smart car, but you have different automatic braking, you have the driver warning. So if you start to fall asleep, it starts pulling noises and slowing the car down. It pulls over if you do fall asleep. It has different things that if you are driving, it automatically brakes if there's an animal that jumps in the road. There's the blind warning that has the little orange light on the lights that there's a car in your blind spot. So there's all these key features on car insurance as well as home insurance, mainly to block water, to stop different claims from happening. If you're tied to some sort of security system, all of those also play a really big factor in helping you get the best price on your car or home insurance. Like I said before, the next step that you need to know is what coverages should you carry? Specifically car insurance, there's a video here that's going to go a lot more in depth on the specifics of the coverages you should carry. If you want to learn more, just the discount possibilities and what's available to you, I've got a pretty good video here that goes in depth on the discounts that you can get on your auto policy. Hopefully this is helpful. Let me know if I missed something in the comments below. Otherwise, I'm Mark with Think Insurance. I'll see you in the next one.